Hey everyone. Everybody okay? I was having a little trouble getting on today. Welcome to the Sunday show. Good to speak with everybody. Hello. Thanks for joining us. It is 11:02 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in Portland, Oregon. Beautiful Portland, Oregon. Good to see everyone here. Hi, fairies and angels. We had a fairy last week. I don't know if we'll get another fairy. Somebody had said, "Well, it's a moth." No, it wasn't a moth because it was translucent, and I looked everywhere for dead moths, living moths. There's no moth in the house, and I cleaned the windows. I went along the side. So yeah, no moth. We don't know what it was. It was something. So people started saying, well, maybe it's a fairy, maybe it's an angel. Somebody had sent me an article from Revealing Light where she had noticed the same phenomenon, that some kind of orbs with wings were flying about. And so it's something that's been noted by other readers. It's very cool when it happens to you because, I'm skeptical. I'm a skeptical girl, so I always look to rule it out. I always look to disprove. Oh, it's dust. Oh, it's dust particles, or something like that. So it was very cool when I couldn't rule it out, and when it was pretty cool. Anyway, so before we get started today, I'm going to go ahead and give gratitude to everybody who decided to join us today. We'll do a little bit of remote viewing. We'll talk a little bit about what's in the news. And hope everyone's enjoying their brunch. Be sure and share with us what you're having for brunch. I just finished my smoothie, which I make with Orac Protein and Greens by Paradise. That's not a promotion. That's just a really great protein shake that's got the superfoods in it, and it's reasonably priced, and it's good for you. Hi, Sue Malik. Good to see you. Hi, Miss Brazil 1955. Great to see you back here. Misty Rose is in the house. Hello, Geocosmic Valentine. Be sure and check out Geocosmic Valentine's YouTube channel. She's an extremely good astrologer, and she is also trained in HCRV, heart-centered remote viewing. So she uses remote viewing and the trance state when she is doing people's astrology charts. So if you would like to get a reading with her and you want to see what it would be like to be with a medium who's also an astrologer, you'd be doing yourself a favor if you check out Geocosmic Valentine. It's a little free promo for her. Hi, Shane Gamble. Great to see you. Hi, T. Oh, lovely. And cheers to you as well. I've got my ice water. I always like to prep my ice water as I get the room settled. I do my chanting. I get my environment all positive. And then I take a glass of water and I fill it with a ton of ice and a little bit of water. And that's the first part of getting my room ready before I go live. And then, an hour later or whatnot, when I go live, it's usually partially melted. But I always do that, so I always have a little bit of ice left over because, I like to have ice. If you do it at the last minute, then it melts. So good to see you, Shane Gamble. Debbie K is in the house. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for joining us. Mel Broussard is here, and Dylan. Becky Smith, Constance Pleasance, welcome. Hi, Pierre Walker. Thank you for helping us today. Be sure and be kind to the moderators. They give of their time. They don't get paid, and we really appreciate it. Debbie Palumba, Ask a Light Worker. Kay Travel Tarot. Woohoo! She's in the house. Also a remote viewer. Good to see you. Terry Soma, a great remote viewer. Good to see you here. Got a lot of remote viewers here today. Annika Loeffling, Redwood's in the house. Good to see you. Also, I believe you've studied some remote viewing. So listen, first, I just wanted to thank the moderators. It's a lot of work. They come here diligently every Sunday. They really help me out, and I just really appreciate everything that you do. And yeah, we all give gratitude to Pierre Walker and everybody else who has volunteered their time. Also, I just wanted to give a shout out to the new members, the new fairies, and the new angels. We had a great time on Saturday. We had a little get together, had a little bit of tea and comfort, what we call our spa day on Saturday, and we had a great time. We supported each other, encouraged one another. People got private readings, which is one of the things we offer on Saturdays. We do little quick blitzes for people. And I hope you'll be able to join us in the future. Also, thanks to the subscribers, the people that push the like button, the donors to the PayPal account. All of it is very appreciated. So, what do you guys want to talk about? I was reading the New York Times today, the Washington Post. Those are the three places I look at. I look at the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Guardian. Sometimes I like to check out other countries, see what's on Haaretz, J-Post in Israel, check out the Canadian news. A lot of people right now are talking about the weather. So if you go back to previous remotes from me and from other people doing HCRV, one of the techniques we do with heart-centered remote viewing is we try to, with empathy, become one with whatever the target is, right? So we try to become one with the energy, and then we allow the energy to carry us. So many of us decided that we would do the winter for 2022. Y'all remember that? So the group did it, I did it, and then we all kind of shared notes. What did you find as a remote viewer? What did I find as a remote viewer? And I can't stress enough how cold this winter feels to me. But specifically, when I look at the energy moving across the north and specifically into the northeast, it feels like it just stays there. And I'm also concerned about the wind. Those are the two things we've talked about. Increases in wind and increases in cold, and that this escalates into February. So I do hope, particularly if you're on the eastern United States, but also parts of the Midwest could be affected. Really take care of yourself. Make sure you've got a generator. Make sure you've got emergency supplies, not just when there's a blizzard warning. Really do some prepping. So if you find yourself in a situation where you lose your electricity, you're not in a dangerous situation. I think based on what I'm feeling here, it's only going to get worse in February. I have to say, as a remote viewer, I've never felt cold like that. And if you're a remote viewer, if you've followed the energy for the weather, feel free to share your perceptions. But I'm very concerned about the northeastern United States and parts of Canada. So people in Toronto were saying, oh, it's never that bad in Toronto. It's, I think with wind chill right now, it's minus 20 in Toronto. So again, my apologies. Please do not send hate mail. I'm just a remote viewer. It's a simple technique. We teach it on Tuesdays. If you want to show up, become a member. We're happy to show you how we do it. It's cold, folks. It's unfortunately going to only get a lot colder. So I just don't. If any other remote viewers want to pipe in with any of their, but the truth be told, they've all pretty much seen the same thing. So I'm sorry again for the weather, and I hope everyone is doing what they have to do to keep themselves safe. It's even worse in Ottawa. Yeah, I've heard Ontario is not necessarily the coldest area, but just that it's the whole northeastern area up into Maine and beyond that area. Just, I feel so frozen. I've never felt this before as a remote viewer. And yeah, it has me a little worried. And then the winds too. When I go into the energy of the wind, I've never felt wind like this. It's a kind of wind that it's I don't think of myself as being particularly frightened of the wind, but this type of wind, um, it's very unusual. So I guess you folks had a blizzard, and it was like hurricane force winds in yes, like the North Pole. I'm sorry, folks, but the good news is that you've got a warning. Ottawa is minus 38. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, you folks. Yeah, please take care of yourselves. All we can do is just prep, get some good library books, and hunker down, make yourself some nice soups and stews. A good, they've got generators for apartments now that are relatively inexpensive, that are only a couple $100. You can also share them with people too, where if lights go out in one area but not the other. Also, a good form of electricity transportation that doesn't require gas is always a good idea. They say like electric car or electric bicycle in the event of an emergency. That's why I'm thinking of getting an electric trike. Truckers. Yeah, none of this can be good. And of course, it only adds to the concerns we have about inflation, the movement of products, the fact that flights are being canceled, deliveries are being canceled, thousands of flights. So again, it's just more that we have to be concerned about. All right. So the next thing on the list that has come up quite a bit has to do with, oh, thank you, Alaska. It's very kind of you. Thank you for your donation. AMC and GME retail investors, will they be able to find financial security? Yes, I can take a look at that. And human training, thank you in training, as am I. When you are doing HCRV, can you steer the person's thoughts in a different direction? Yes, that's something that people talk about when we look at, because we base some of what we do on the Silva mind control. So you can control another person. Is it ethical to do that? That gets into the whole thing of, is it ethical? The Russians have certainly experimented with that, where they will go in, they will begin to play psychological games, they'll manipulate another person and then theoretically try to have an impact on how that person treats Russia, etc. So we'll do some blitzes on that. I did want to talk about the fact that a couple things are coming up. The New York Times is reporting the fact that the United States is seriously considering sanctions against Russia. And there's some concerns about the impact that it will have on the Russian economy, and whether or not the Russian economy is going to have, if it goes down, will this have an impact on the European economy? And then will that have an impact ultimately on the American economy? Specifically, if we, for example, start sanctioning natural gas in Europe. They say if we start to sanction, it'll affect state banks, and it will cause dramatic inflation in Russia. And then that in turn will cause Russia to retaliate by raising the prices of natural gas in Europe and increasing cyber attacks. So it goes back to this whole thing of tit for tat, and how can we come out of this and get to a place of mediation? Because in the end, when you war, it always comes back and it's never a good thing, right? So that's why it just seems to me like sanctions, everything is interconnected. All the economies are interconnected. So sanctioning the people of Russia ultimately is going to backfire. That's the idea. Whereas we're really only left with one solution, and that is to try and find some kind of mediation. Other thing that came up was an interesting article today in the New York Times about dark money. And we talked about the fact a little bit that the nonprofits that back the political campaigns, say the ones that support the Democratic Party and the ones that support the Republican Party, it looks like the Democrats in 2020, the dark money outpaced the Republicans. We had $1.5 billion in dark money donated to nonprofits that supported the Democratic Party. Whereas I guess the Republicans were only able to get only a little under $1 billion. So it goes back to, how do we all feel about dark money? And on the one hand, we say dark money is bad, but then we ourselves became the beneficiaries of so much dark money. And it's going to be something that's coming up in the future. Now, there's been some conversations with the Republicans about what they call kitchen table politics or kitchen table issues. It's another thing that I was reading about today. And what one Republican rep said is, we don't have to go after the Democrats because they have enough rope right now to hang themselves. And he specifically pointed out the kitchen table issues that concern most Americans. Inflation up 40%, rising gas prices, which have led to it's too expensive to heat one's home, and we've got blizzard conditions, escalating prices for rents, home prices through the roof, leading to normal people are becoming homeless, winding up on the streets. And then they're also saying Biden's reckless spending. This is their argument. And they're basically saying that voter rights is not a kitchen table conversation. And as long as the Democrats push voter rights and not kitchen table arguments, they're basically hanging themselves in midterms. Was just wondering what people thought about that. It feels to me very similar to the remote view we had done a couple of weeks ago. That's also what Bernie Sanders has said, that the welfare of the American people has to be the primary thing that they focus on. Wages, the inflation issue, the price of rent right now, home prices, etc., price of oil. So a lot of interesting things that we can blitz on today. Of course, Stephen Breyer has left. He's leaving. He's leaving the Supreme Court. And so he is off to bigger and better things. And it looks like we're going to have a new Supreme Court judge. So that's exciting as well. Okay, so that's pretty much everything that I looked at today. We can go ahead if you like, and we can do the empath prayer. And then would everybody like to have a weekly reading? Hi, Ruth Pearl. I wanted to send you a thank you card, and I didn't have your address. She sent me a very nice calendar. Yeah, Ruth, I think it's what the average person... I don't know if we're talking about polls so much, Desert Artist, as what Americans themselves are saying is affecting them. It's not. I don't think it's about polls. It's very hard to live in America right now. People can't afford it's either heat your apartment or get your medication. So things polls aside, it's very hard to live in this country right now. These are rough times. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll do the empath's prayer, and let's see if we can do it together. Maybe we'll attract some positive energy. That would be nice. And let's give ourselves a reading for the week. Sound good? Awesome. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. Let's go in. Ooh, the sun came out. Let us see. What is the message to all of us from Spirit? Yeah, the pandemic is another one too. People want their lives back. They're frustrated. Elders and Empaths, Carol Bastian, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. And the stock market sucks. Where we are right now, the good news is that there's a couple things going on with many of you, including myself right now, and that is that this is a time for you, for me, for all of us, that we're seeing a lot of transition. Many of us, based on this energy, could be downsizing. Now is the time to minimize, find out what it is that you really want to keep, and anything that is clutter, anything that you're attached to that's just creating stress for you, go ahead and let it go. Only hold on to the things that are of value to you, that are important to you, because we're now in the time, the base of the matter is 8 of Cups. And 8 of Cups is to let go of the things that no longer serve you. Now, some people say that the 9th cup is the wish card. The person leaves the 8 cups and goes off to seek the 9th cup. But it can also be people who are letting go of things that they have built because they're just not happy, right? If all of your time is spent stressing out about trying to maintain a particular lifestyle or maintain a bunch of stuff that you don't use, you don't enjoy, and it's just stuff, maybe it would be easier for you to minimize, downsize it to a manageable level, so that you've got a nice cushion there and you don't have to stress about what's going to happen tomorrow. So this is a lot about letting things go, simplifying our lives, trying not to have so much stuff, the burden of the stuff, the burden of being attached to the stuff. The other good thing that's happening for a lot of us is that we're getting very clear. There's this sanity that's starting to happen. A lot of the craziness is leaving us, a feeling that we are in sound judgment, that perhaps the first time in a long time, we're starting to see our situation clearly. If you were on the fence about a job, if you were on the fence about a relationship, if you were on the fence about what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. Now is the time. It's like, okay, I now know what decision I'm going to make, and I now know what direction I'm going to be going in the future. Many of you will be taking on new jobs starting very soon in the next couple months. There's new jobs, new financial opportunities. Some of you will be taking a second job or possibly a raise. If you are retired, you may be looking at a nice side gig for money, but it looks like a lot of people are going to be working, and we're probably going to be having good employment numbers in February. We can see the Page of Pentacles coming in. Nice energy for new work, money, stability. It's associated with Archangel Gabriel, which also has an aspect to it of creativity. Gabriel is the archangel that's associated with the arts, writing, intellect, but also Page of Pentacles is associated with financial stability, new jobs, being grounded. Now, in Chinese medicine, it's associated with the earth element. And so it has that nice aspect of being stable and of being grounded. So good financial grounding. Also a good time for people to start reinvesting your inheritance or looking at any kind of money you have saved or inherited from family and just looking at ways to conservatively invest it. A nice 10 of Pentacles crossing us could indicate that now is the time again to consolidate all your monies from various different areas, including inheritance, and just do an account and a reckoning of where you're holding right now. Pull back on and let go of the things you don't need during this time when we do have high inflation. You'll be all right. And it looks like many of you are going back to work. Fool takes a leap of faith, stands in the fourth house, which is the energy that is coming in for you, which could indicate that you're going to be taking new risk and challenging yourself in the coming months. Maybe you had too much fear in the past, making you afraid to do certain things. For me, it's fear of driving, right? I'm trying to overcome my fear of driving. But for you, it could be fear of something else, bungee cord jumping, right? Whatever that thing is that you really wanted to do, but maybe you held back because you had fear. Now is the time to really let go also of any fears that you have about not feeling that you're strong enough or not that you're not capable of trying new things. What we sit in is the Strength card. So really beginning to challenge yourself and really beginning to focus on health, not see yourself as so fragile. You're not as fragile as you think you are. You're much stronger than you realize. And now is the time to really begin to challenge yourself. It's kind of like yes theory is about the channel is about seeking just, safe, responsible challenges that seek a little bit of discomfort, because through discomfort and challenging ourselves, we grow. Your past placement at this time, Justice. Many of you could be coming out of relationships that you have severed. Can also be coming out of a court case or legal challenge with others. Still seeing a bit of a COVID challenge in February. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. If you can get boosted, make sure you're getting boosted. We can see a little bit of that energy and also the strong winds. We've talked about the swords from Chinese medicine is associated with metal and air. And in Chinese medicine, that is associated with the lungs and the large intestine. It's also associated with grief, right? So this is why my COVID card is the Knight of Swords, because it can be this angry wind energy and the element metal, which are connected. So making sure you're in a good, stable place, because there's still some problems with COVID in February. Very smart decisions that many of you will be making in terms of your finances in the coming months. Nice King of Pentacles in the seventh house, and what is around us in relationship to others. It looks like life begins anew, in the sense that we're going to start seeing us coming out of this plague, coming out of this winter in the coming months. And many of us are going to be attending weddings again. family members getting married, celebrations. It'll be nice. You'll be able to see some around the horizon, love, some positive energy, new beginnings, the next generation, which is nice. And the hopes and the fears, again, the spring, the new beginnings. And the final outcome for us is artistic creativity. She rubs her lamp. This is a time of looking towards new creative endeavors, the open heart, a willingness to share ourselves in loving ways with others. But because we're coming out of that justice energy also, there's a need here for boundaries as well. The clarification for all of us: deep hidden secrets are revealed. This could be a time where many of you are beginning to study and learn and become passionate about your education, pursuing knowledge, particularly pursuing esoteric knowledge. We can see here exchange of ideas coming in. Many of you have artistic, creative talents, writing, music, acting, etc. But we see the artist card here, fertility coming in. This can be creative abundance. And then hopes and fears for the world. One of the great things about coming out of a stressful situation like this is that human beings become creative, and where there's creativity, there's solutions. And one of the things I love about the future of the planet is that people are coming together looking for creative ways to find solutions to the current global crisis, global warming, etc. Everything that's going on with the economy. I love the fact that we're entering into the time of the high priestess, where the truth is revealed, where the hidden is revealed. It's an artistic time you're entering into, a creative time, and it's a time where you're going to be challenging yourself, challenging your intelligence, and you'll be doing okay financially. It looks like economically people are going to be doing better. So that is what I see for everybody in the coming months. Did that give people some, hopefully that gave people some positive vibes, as they say. Yes, Omicron is 1.5. Karen B is talking about it being highly contagious. It is. Basically, they say everyone's going to get it. The good news is that if you get it, you're going to have a natural immunity for about 3 to 6 months. And it may be the reason why we start to see a decline in COVID in the coming months, because once everybody gets it, then everybody's immunized. So of course, we want people to be vaccinated as well. Geocosmic Valentine makes the important point that we have to focus on voter rights. Of course we do. But I think this is really more about marketing, that the Democrats really have to begin to talk about the kitchen table conversations, because if we don't, then we lose control of the narrative. And those are the conversations that people want to have right now. So we can do both. We can do double duty. We can fight for voter rights, but the main focus people are scared. They're scared they're going to have to live in their car. And so we have to address, those are real concerns. And it is an emergency situation for a lot of people. They were already struggling financially. And now with inflation and gas prices up, et cetera, people really are afraid. So it's just something that we need to make sure we're talking with the American people and letting them know that everything is being done to help. So let's see what else we have here. Okay, Foggy Ozark. You're having trouble with your recycling. Well, do your best. We're all doing our best. I live in an apartment buildings downtown. I get a really great apartment because nobody wants to live downtown right now because we have a homeless problem. The rents are too high in downtown Portland. We have homeless everywhere, fighting every night. I mean, I think that we've got to get the rents down, and we've got to increase people's wages. We can still fight for voter rights, but those are the things that are really stressing Americans out right now. That and healthcare. Yeah, those are the things people are talking about. So whenever people are ready, we can go ahead and blitz away. Be sure and let the moderators know what your questions are so we can get to everybody. Oh, Pierre Walker has made an important point about being an interior designer, that, less is more. Like she has to do a lot to get clients to scale down. Just because too much clutter isn't necessarily a nice look, a nice, clean look. Well, that's so sweet, Jane the Seeker, wanting to give her crystals away. Yeah, do a nice prayer, a cleansing, that they go to a wonderful person and do good work in the world. It's a lovely thing to do. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's a bridge. The bridges were scary, Karen. And then that bridge collapsed in Philadelphia. So, again, wind, the heaviness of the snow, the fact that the infrastructure is collapsing in the United States right now, all those things are really, really scary. So, yeah, so that's what people are worried about. Well, I would love to answer that question, Connie. I'm just waiting to get the answer. Just the order. Jamie Harrison. I gotta waiting to get blitz away. I gotta get the order. Ooh, okay, people are asking. Okay, let's see here. What's going to happen? Pluto return. Oh, that would be a question for Geocosmic Tarot, because she's the one who's the astrologer. Will DNC Chair Jamie Harrison finish his term and heal his rift with the Biden administration? Okay, let's take a look at Jamie Harrison. What is the future of Jamie Harrison and his rift with Biden? Okay, Jamie Harrison. It's interesting. He has an opportunity to work outside of Congress, possibly for a think tank or for some kind of organization. He has a job offer here. It's a moment of truth for him. So it could be that Jamie Harrison feels that he could do more work or better work as an activist, lobbyist, or take on some position outside of Congress. And also, carrying the heavy load, 10 of Wands, can also be moving physically from one location to another. So again, possibility that Jamie Harrison he's seriously thinking of leaving. What is above him? Fool takes a leap of faith. Looking at his inheritance, his responsibility, what he sits in, the courts. Is he a lawyer? These cards would suggest that he's seriously thinking of leaving. And is he getting married, or is something going on in his love life? This is like either that or a member of his family. There's some kind of wedding around him, some kind of romantic situation. Also, I'm seeing him getting offered a position in the private sector, being offered. So it's very possible he does leave. Yeah, look at this. Offer, green money, new investing, also concern about the world, global concerns. Look at this, creative energy coming in for him, a new position, a moment of truth with Archangel Michael. It could be a situation where Jamie Harrison believes he could do more work outside of Congress. So it's possible. It's possible he does leave. That'd be too bad. So, yeah, Lindsey Graham's been really good about voting. I mean, he voted for Sotomayor. That was what he said during the Kavanaugh hearing. He said, be sure and say hi to Sotomayor when you get there because I voted for her. So that is one thing I will say about Lindsey Graham. He has been good about not blocking quite as much as it's Mitch McConnell. When you go into the remotes on Mitch McConnell, I always hear it's all about the courts. It's all about the courts. He will, this is why he went rogue. What they call it. He went. Whatever they call it, nuclear, right? The nuclear option where 51 votes will get you into the Supreme Court. They were going to do everything they could to make sure that they had a conservative Supreme Court. And so they changed the rules. But now they don't want to get rid of the filibuster. So they want to get rid of the filibuster when it serves them. Why are 11 attorney generals suing TikTok? I believe TikTok may be a Chinese company. I don't believe it's an American company, but I can go ahead and take a look at why the attorney generals are suing TikTok. They could be getting information on people. There was an interesting article in the New York Times about how China is tracking people using COVID tracking devices and other devices in order to track people. So it might be something like that. Why are 11 attorney generals suing TikTok? Good to see everyone. There's something here about collecting data or information. I don't know about it being so much cover up, so much as they want to know what TikTok is up to, and they want to know. There seems to be some secret agenda from whoever owns TikTok that involves collecting information, because you can see here walking away from something they had built. So something was going on with TikTok where they may have been building something, and there may have been a moment when people were kind of naive about TikTok, but you can see here's the investigation, trying to determine why they were collecting names or information on certain people, and also how they were making their money. That's the investigation. Similar things with Facebook. Grief. Yeah, something was discovered about TikTok, possibly spying, or also there could be a concern that there's spyware or something like that on the apps. Something's wrong with the app because something's going to go down, and there's some kind of an investigation. And I see an actual legal case. It could dramatically limit what TikTok can do because time is running out, TikTok, right? And then you have the 10 of Wands, which could be a case or carrying a load or an investigation. Cori Bush's car was shot up. Yeesh. Wow, that's crazy. The ERA, can you believe the ERA? We started that in the 70s, nearly 50 years ago. China is also pushing Hawaii and Luan to control communication. Well, that's what it looked like based on, it looked like the app was, they were possibly looking at tracking information about people who had the TikTok. So you're just happily playing on TikTok. But meanwhile, they've used the app to get into private information about you. They're collecting data on you. And it's complete. Does this violate your privacy, or are you being tracked in ways you may not totally understand? That looked what it's definitely some kind of federal investigation, because Three of Pentacles is also a card I use for investigation or constructing something. The fact that 10 of Wands was moving in is a heavy load. So yeah, something is going down in terms of an investigation, possibly into what they were using the you can't just do whatever you want with those apps. Same thing was happening with WhatsApp, right? Some of these apps have some strange things going on with them. All right, let's see what's going on with the ERA amendment and women's rights in the United States in general. I know a lot of us are concerned about a lot of stuff that's going on, Roe v. Wade, etc. Crazy things that were said by Amy Coney Barrett about women's rights. Well, I mean, some people feel that it's terrifying that it's Biden against these nefarious, it almost feels like nefarious forces that have an agenda when it comes to women's rights that, it doesn't bode well. It's a very conservative court, right? So you have the Two of Swords. So you have some kind of block taking place. However, at the same time, the biggest protector of women's rights is more women in business, more women having their own money, their own power. That seems to be what determines women's equality, whether it's in Afghanistan. This is why you had the Grameen Bank giving private loans to poor women, because they found domestic violence decreased when women were earning their own money. Women would just say, you know what, I don't like the way you're treating me, I'm out. And so because men became financially dependent on their spouses, they noticed dramatic shifts. When a person is vulnerable, when they don't have their own money, they don't have their own power, when they don't vote, that's when people become vulnerable. When people are wealthy, when they're powerful, when they're educated, when they're making their own money, they have more power to determine the future of the country and where it heads politically. And so they're basically saying that because women have become so powerful in the United States, it's going to be difficult to take their rights away. You see the Nine of Pentacles, which also doubles as a female empowerment card. And then Knight of Cups, which is about trying to woo or seduce the female voter, and then Biden. So it's not just Biden against the world. It's the fact that 70% of graduating students right now are women. And so they make up a high percentage of the intellectuals, the educated, and people who are starting the new businesses that are starting to emerge in the United States, which are owned by women. And so that becomes its own type of leverage. The emergence of the new female millionaire, the new female billionaire, and how she spends her money and which candidates she endorses. So in that sense, that has more of an impact even than anything that SCOTUS tries to do. You can see transformation over the issue of women's power. Again, here, Ace of Cups. So it's this idea that the Republicans are trying to woo the female voter, but it goes back to what Biden said. We've lost the educated female voter and she's never coming back. And there's some truth to that. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Alingo. If you have a party that's going after women, if it's going after the LGBTQ community, if it's going after people of color, etc., then you've really painted yourself into a corner. Now they're trying to woo Black business owners, right? That this idea that, I can see why it would be attractive, because the argument is that if you're a poor person and you go to a trade school and you try to get ahead, and then you wind up $10,000-$20,000 in debt, and then you go to a chef's school and then you get a job for $12 an hour, you wind up poorer than if you hadn't gotten a job, if you hadn't gone to school at all. And so these programs are not necessarily helping pull poor people out of poverty. Starting your own business, starting to sell something and making money right away is the way out of poverty. That was the whole argument that Kanye West was making. And it's a legitimate argument. And it's an argument. So it's another thing that Democrats we can talk about, the importance that we support small businesses and female business owners and people of color, and that it doesn't, making it out like we're opposed to that, which of course is not the truth. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, Afghanistan is not good right now. It's very weird, isn't it? Yes. 3 Celsius today in Atlantic Canada. Well, that's not too bad, is it? Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of business, right? I guess it's the kind of business that you have, Elaine. Yeah. So we just have to. So we have to, get the message out that we are fighting for those things. We fight for those things all the time, but we're not necessarily good at the media, right? All right. So Linda Hepburn writes, housing rentals and cost are through the roof. Will we ever get a reprieve? Let's take a look and see about housing cost. Are we going to see a decline in the housing market? Is the cost going to go down, or are they going to continue to go through the roof? Will we remain landless peasants, right? They say that we're headed back into a kind of medieval economy where, I would be the educated landless peasant, right? She's got a lot of education, but she's basically a nomad. And then you have the peasants with land, right? They've got a little tiny house on wherever. And then you have the aristocrats, right? So you don't have much of a middle class anymore. The middle class has become the new poor. Let's see here, the housing market. The housing market. I mean, maybe the other thing is depressed wages, right? So even if the prices go down, if wages don't go up. There could be a stabilization of the housing market by summer of 2022. The Hierophant coming in. So there is some concern that certain things are happening. For example, if there's a foreclosure, then, or people are in trouble, the vultures come, they buy it really low, and then they fix it up and sell it really, really high so that the average person cannot get a good deal on a house, because the vultures are the ones that are increasing the sale of the houses. They'll go in and they'll work with a lawyer and they'll get somebody to take a really low fee, and then they'll snatch it up before it even is, try and not even have it be on the public market, not to even have it be public. It's these private little deals that also can be a problem. It's like the person that goes and buys up all the tickets to the Stevie Wonder concert, right? And then you go to buy a ticket and you can't get one, and so the guy is selling it to you for $500. So that's also one of the things that people are looking at in terms of controlling housing prices. So this can be the feds, it can be the ethos, the Constitution, and then there's a star coming in, and then 10 of Cups, and then a solid business, things starting to stabilize. But we still have, for example, in Seattle, Washington, if you want a 300 square meter studio, you're going to spend $1,200 in Seattle. Nobody wants to spend $1,200 to live in a box. Nobody wants to live in a box. That's the problem with it. People don't want to live in boxes. They want to live in homes with space, not trapped in a box, having to spend half their money to live in a box. So the problem is not just the housing going up, it's the depression of the wages. So you have here also activism, or fighting the good fight, some kind of legal issue coming up, and then 9 of Pentacles. It goes back to the issue of financial stability, and then again, summertime. So there have to be laws on the books also to protect against predatory activity regarding the market, and also something about, we're going to see more and more raises and increase in salaries in the coming months. And I think that makes sense because have a lot of people who have left the job market because the 9 of Pentacles is coming in. Thank you, Carrie Dye, for that donation. I appreciate it. Oh, let's see what Miss Lori said. That's kind of interesting. I want to read this. That's what Zillow did. They're in trouble financially now because they bought up tons of homes hoping to flip them at a premium price. Prices are slightly dropping, so they're losing millions now. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So Zillow buys the homes? Well, it's interesting. I look on Zillow because I'm thinking, should I buy? See, I don't think I do want to buy because I'm too nomadic. I like to travel. And if you buy a home, you're stuck there. It's better for me to just stay in a studio, live frugally, save my money, and travel the world, right? I live a very simple life. And then every 6 months, you put a little money aside, maybe take a little 1-week trip to take a little trip, Thank you, Linda Hepburn, for that generous donation. Thank you for all that you do. It's much appreciated. You can't get a decent studio for under $1,800 in Manhattan. Yeah, it's turning like that in Seattle and in Portland now. Very sad. And oh, but 1,200 square feet is pretty good, isn't it? Foggy Ozark. Zillow's in a lot of trouble. Well, that, I'm sorry to say, that might be good for us, but it looks like things stabilize. $900 for 100 square feet. That's a prison cell. I'm sorry. People don't want to live in a prison. It's depressing. Take a little trip. It reminds me of Up in Smoke. Cheech and Chong. That's the song, I think, from Up in Smoke. Let's take a look at rents, because I think you guys are asking some really great questions. Oh, really, Rose V? People want to buy your house? Sure. People want to live in Phoenix. Oh, okay. And Anekola, it's a Chinese company. Yeah, I think it had to do with tracking. That's why they're, which is good. We want Americans to not be tracked by the NSA or a foreign government. That's a legitimate thing to be looking into, right? All right. So let's look at Zillow and these rent increases and what's going to happen with these homes. Catalot, you just asked the question. And thank you, by the way, for joining Fairies and Angels. I appreciate that. Zillow. They're going to try and sell off some of their homes to a real estate company. The duds, they want to dump the duds. You can see here taking the money, contract on real estate. Three of Pentacles is a real estate, and then shoring up their losses. So it's, yes, it looks like they're dumping it. So say you have another real estate company like realestate.com, and they say, well, you know what, we've got a bunch of duds that we've had up trying to sell for the last 6 months, a year. Let's see if we can't cut our losses, take a 20% cut or whatever, sell it to another company and move on. And that's probably what's going to happen. You can see the money, the contract on the real estate. They're going to throw in the towel. They're going to walk away from some stuff, and then this could cause a stabilizing of the market that we're seeing around summer of 2022. Yeah. The other thing is that people are starting to build their own homes on their own land. So people are more interested in land now than paying these exorbitant prices. And we're seeing more people that are getting involved in new greenhouses. Earthships have become huge. And people building homes from junkyards. They're going to the junkyard and they're dragging stuff off and they're creating these really cool homes. You can see the new economy again is the green economy. So people are not building homes the way they used to. People don't want sick homes. They don't want prefab homes that fall apart, that have got a bunch of gnarly stuff in them. People are really getting into this whole idea of making their own recycled homes on their own land. And I think that trend will continue. Sorry, your rent went up. Yeah, people will buy it. Well, tiny homes are a ripoff. You know, that $50,000 for a box, that I don't think that's a good investment. It's better for a person to, live in your van and build a real home. Live in a van and build on your own land would be a better investment. good. You found a scrap wood and built it. Good, Jane. Local codes. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that they're building tiny homes for the homeless. And the other thing they're doing is they're taking these parking lots and they're converting them into places where people can live in their cars in the parking lot. And then they have a kitchen area, porta potties, and people just live in their cars and they pay a small fee to park their car there, and they live there and go to work, and they've got showers, and they've got a communal kitchen area with a microwave. They can make their coffee. I've seen the tiny homes when I was in California at the on the premises of Veterans Administration. You know, Linda, I've heard about these 3D printed homes. That sounds kind of interesting. Yeah. I want a log cabin kind of, I like these little house on the prairie types of homes, but I want it to have plumbing and electricity. I also really like wood stoves. I grew up with a wood stove, and I actually, it's interesting. When I was a kid, we had wood stoves, and we would cook in the wood stove. And I just remember being so depressed, like, oh, I hate being poor. And now that I'm like 50, I'm like, wow, I really miss that. I really wish I could get back to that simple life. But that simple life is $500,000 now. I mean, the home that I grew up in was an old Victorian home in Northwest Portland, is now a few $1,000,000. It's true about wood stoves polluting, Lori. Elaine. They've got these new eco-friendly ones where it's one little stick goes in and it contains the heat. I think that's so brilliant. All right. So we want to look at the future of 3D printing. Well, my question about 3D printing has to do with are the 3D printing, if we could have it be eco-friendly, like they're now having hemp bricks. You don't want anything that's giving off gases, right? So let's take a look at 3D homes. Oh, they're affordable and can be built in a week instead of months. Ooh, I'm excited. Let's look at 3D, but I don't like press board and all that stuff. Yeah, incredible. I don't want to be in a tiny home, though. To feel comfortable, I think I would like to have I think between 800 and 1,000 square feet would be enough for me, ideally. All right, let's look at the future of 3D homes. Future of 3D printing homes. Oh, wow. Oh, they're going to build communities of 3D homes. Well, that's a good idea. So the answer would be yes. What's nice about it is that you are able to build multiple homes on a lot, and it would be a good home for communities that are looking at affordable living. You have a nice Page of Cups, Archangel Raphael. So that's That's very nice. It's a healing, and then you have the move. Confusion, the moon, but then the outcome is 10 of Cups, which would indicate happy home, happy family. So it looks like it's a way to create an affordable living situation for people. So I think it's actually, oh, I love yurts, Alomir. I think they're really cool. They're going to have to change those zoning laws because they're archaic. Yeah, look at that. Financial stability. Oh, it looks like a lot of people, look, double aces. A lot of people are going to be investing in these 3D printer home businesses. Your Airstream is 210 square feet, Mary Henson. Airstreams are supposed to be great, but they're expensive, aren't they? Oh, what is going on here? I don't see anything questionable. Okay, so listen, are people planning on going anywhere for spring vacation? I'm thinking of a spring vacation. Okay, here's what I'm thinking of. You know, I do these frugal vacations, right? I'll do like a no spend February, right? Where it's beans and rice, right? Broke aristocrat, right? I really get my bills down for a month or two. And then I like to save up my money and go on these mini vacations all over the world for like a week, week and a half. So I'm thinking 7-8 days in Ireland. The round trip ticket is $600. You can get an Airbnb room for about $50-$60 a night. You can get a 2-3-star hotel for, $100-$110 with breakfast included. So your breakfast and your room is included. Bus to Cork is, if you take the train or the bus, it's £7, €7. So I could do the entire trip for very, very little money. So I'm thinking Ireland. It's more expensive for me to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico in the spring than Ireland. I don't know what's going on in Santa Fe, but the price goes from like $300-$400 to like $800 for spring break. So people must be going there for spring break. I did Italy and Greece with my sister. We did a cruise of Italy and Greece. We had a great time. I have not been to Ireland yet. So I was thinking places I've never been, like Ireland, Thailand. I haven't been to Thailand. Travel-ins. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been to Sweden, Scandinavian countries. Oh, lots of art festivals. How nice. Yeah, so maybe you guys can tell me where to go for a week for spring. Scotland, I have not gone to Scotland yet. Been to England. But if you guys know of any great vacations I can take for my spring vacation, very frugal, let me get your feedback. All right, we got another question here. Oh, I went to Savannah for vacation for 4 days. These are mini trips that I do. It was fantastic. I loved it. Miss Wilkes boarding house for lunch. Oh my, the Obamas ate there. You wait in line and they sit you 10 people at a time. And then they serve you like 20 different things, and then you pass it around. And then you clear your own plates. And here's what they serve at Miss Wilkes boarding house. And I highly recommend it, but you got to get off your diet. You got to get off your diet. It's fried chicken, ribs, mac and cheese, cornbread, beans and ham hocks, collard greens, I think peach cobbler. There's like even more than that. It's like, and it's all homemade. Oh, it's so good. And then we were talking to the staff, what was it like to serve Barack Obama and black-eyed peas? They had that. They had yams. I tried everything. Because I believe in moderation. I eat very healthy. I have a green smoothie every day, or oats with fruit. I eat a very healthy, but you know what? Let yourself have a little fun. Life's too short. Who wants to be it's like extreme frugality is fine in stages, right? I'm all about be extremely frugal, make sure I take responsibility, no credit card debt. I can do that, but I'm not going to do that my entire life. Butter beans, they have all of that. So I strongly, strongly recommend if you do go on a vacation to Savannah, visit the synagogue, which is a great tour. The synagogue is like 500 years old. And make sure to visit Miss Wilkes boarding house. Oh, I think they had a catfish. Anybody here like catfish? Yeah, it's good stuff. But they said that when the Obamas showed up and they had to pass everything around, and he was there with some of his staff and his kids, and they were passing it around. I like those baked beans, but Michelle had said to him, I know you want the fried chicken. Like when they were like, he went straight for that. He had like several helpings of the fried chicken. So, my gosh, these people we like idealize, but people are just people, right? We all like the same foods and stuff. But oh my God, cobbler. My mother used to make the best cobbler. So I went there and I ate everything, and mashed potatoes. I had it all, gravy, buttermilk gravy. But it's not every day. It's once in a lifetime. I'm going to go to Miss Wilkes, right? So enjoy it. They also had a health food restaurant and co-op in Savannah. So I went and I had that the rest of the time, right? Went and I had my vegan burgers and all that good stuff. So again, enjoy your life. Be moderate in all things. All right. So Foggy Ozark asked a really great question. She wants to know what's up with Tucker Carlson. It goes back to the remote where the NSA was tracking him. And then he came out and he said, the NSA is tracking me. The NSA is tracking him. He's being accused of being a Russian operative. Today, when I did a remote on Tucker Carlson, the thing I took away from how I was treated by the Russians is they were so nice to me. They were so kind, and they gave me gifts. And the main reason, it's hard not to like the Russians when they're so nice and kind and giving you gifts. And this is not spooky energy I felt from my Russian host. I felt these were really nice people that were very reasonable, and they treated me really well. So that was kind of how I felt as Tucker Carlson. But let's take a look. And we'll try and see what's with his future, because obviously he's being tracked, and this is not the old administration, right? This is the new administration. He's been on Russian TV, yeah. What's the future of Tucker Carlson? Secrets, right? Family secrets, legacy. There's something here about an invite, and that he was under investigation for being invited to go there, a trip, an investigation. I don't know if we can get him on anything. If he's invited to go somewhere to do the show, but he's got a 4 of Swords in the grave. So it could be that, his feeling about this is he's invited to go and do this. And then as a reporter, he's open-minded to hear what they have to say. But no, he's been compromised. It's the slippery slope where you get pulled. He's under investigation for having been compromised, and he doesn't realize it's the people don't realize when they've been compromised. Also, believe it or not, it looks like some kind of pressure from Fox News that he went too far, and he may have to pull back or something, because there's a possibility he could lose his job at Fox because of this, because you've got the 5 of Pentacles moving in, poverty, and then 2 of Pentacles with his job situation due to his relationships. Yeah, there's evidence here that he's been compromised, took money or took gifts. And it's one of those things where you get seduced. People are just really, really nice to you. Hey, come over to my house and have lunch. And they seem like reasonable, nice people. And then the next thing you know, you're pulled into a situation. That's kind of what it looks like. Well, Linda, a lot of people feel that if you look at libertarianism and how it was influenced by Ayn Rand, and what Putin has said about himself is that he's practical. Let's be, it's kind of like when I go into a remote with Putin. Let's be reasonable. Let me have my trade. Kazakhstan's oil. This used to be Russia. Russia used to make money off of all of these former Soviet, the former Soviet Union, right? And then when they lost, when those places gained autonomy, Russia lost those resources, and also it lost the trade routes to go through and to engage in trade. So that has always been what Putin talks about, right? He talks about, I want my trade back, I want these routes back, I want these resources back. So, yeah. All right, I think we have yes, exactly, Miss Lori. I mean, it's just business. His private armies. He wants to get his trade out. Yeah, Tucker's definitely compromised, and there's definitely an he has openly said that he's under investigation, that the NSA is tracking his phone. And of course they would be. He's going in and out of, he's having communications with people during the Cold War. You're talking about Nord Stream 2, Elaine Goad, and it's not totally started yet. They still have some preliminary work to do, but that's one of the reasons why that's happening. Yes, the libertarians are similar to Putin in the sense that the libertarians have been heavily influenced by Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand was anti-socialist. She was a conservative. And in many ways, Putin is not a friend of Gorbachev, liberal policies. Um, and so he would be more closely aligned with Ayn Rand than with, say, the democratic socialism of Bernie Sanders. He would consider Bernie Sanders more the enemy, you know. If anything, I would say Putin is more like the czars of old, where you have a peasant economy and you have this divine ruler, what they believe is this ruler who has an important role as far as the church is concerned, right? The Russian Orthodox Church believing that they have some divine right to be there. That's the crazy thing that people who love Ayn Rand don't realize, that people were enslaved. They had slavery until the 1960s in Russia, legally. Putin wants to bring back the gulag. Anybody who's not for me is against me, and you just enslave them and send them off to Siberia. Yeah, exactly, Gwen. She was pro-capitalism, let the peasants die. They did it to themselves, blame the victim. This idea that Putin is a pro-social, it's just not true. He's really more like a czar. Okay, I think we're going to finish up unless, is there one more question? Then but that's also why you have people like Ron Paul, and Ron Paul is, these people go back and forth to Russia. Yeah, Ian McGrath, exactly. So he saw Gorbachev as having destroyed Russia. That's kind of Putin's view. The future of Bitcoin. Okay, we're going to do a quick throw on the future of Bitcoin, and then I guess we'll call it a day. The future of Bitcoin. What is going to be the future of Bitcoin? Well, the concern is theft, that it's not regulated enough. There's still a concern that people could wind up inflating Bitcoin and then pulling out, and there could be a collapse in the near future of Bitcoin. The Star, Four of Cups, Knight of Cups, and then the Thief. So it's all the rage, right? Everybody is getting into Bitcoin. But there's something here about a false knight comes. So it's kind of like people think that they're going to get rich off Bitcoin, but then you've got a thief's card here. It's still not stable. And the main reason it's not stable is because there's a lack of government oversight. It's also been a way where the mafia has been transferring money, etc. There's some kind of investigation that could come in also with this kind of energy that could theoretically, it's almost like the people that are doing bad things take the money and run, and it causes a a deflation of Bitcoin because of increasing investigations and pressure from feds and other foreign governments to squeeze out Bitcoin. Yeah. All right. Again, my apologies to the Northeast, Midwest for the weather that's going to be coming, which is even worse than the weather that's already been there. Please keep yourself safe and warm. You know, seriously, folks, because I think it's going to be a rough February. Okay, if you're trying to get in for a reading, please reach out to me, tarotwithwhimsy.com. I'll be back on Tuesday doing readings. And please support the other readers as well, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. It's been a joy, as it always is. And if you are a healer and an empath, class will be Tuesday at 5 p.m. We'll be talking about how we lock on a target. And we're going to be going deeper into where you locate the target, because there's some confusion, I think, about how a target is located using HCRV. So we're going to really talk about that a lot this Tuesday. All right. Love and light, everyone. I will see you all soon. Be well and stay warm. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you again.